A win tonight would clinch first place in the East for the Bombers. The Argos are 8-6. There's Mike Riley, the head coach of Winnipeg. Argos 8-6 under Don Matthews in his first year as head coach. And of course, if they win, they get to within 2 of the Bombers and will probably take the first place chase then down to the final weekend of the regular season. Trevor Kenner will kick off to start the game, and we're underway at the Sky Dome. The Argos bring it back. Kevin Smelly from their 26-yard line. He's out across the 40 and up near the 50. And already the Argos are ahead of where they were last week in Winnipeg because Lorenzo Rivers fumbled the game-opening kickoff.
We never like to start a game like that at all. And usually the way it's been in the CFL this year, the quarterbacks have had good field position because of returns. And Rick Foggy last week went through a maturing process. I think the Winnipeg defense taught him a few lessons. I think he agrees that he wasn't seeing things, or what he was seeing, he wasn't recognizing and completing the passes. But you've got to give the defense the credit in that situation.
25-yard return by Kevin Smelly. Argos from their 50. The toss to Mike Clemens. He was one of the effective Argos in Winnipeg 8 days ago, and he'll pick up 2, maybe 3 yards on that carry. Clemens enjoying an outstanding season. His total yards on the year, 2,467 on rushes, pass receptions, punt returns, and kickoff returns. And not a good sign for the Argos early if Clemens has to go out of the game.
Don Matthews said they wanted to run the ball more. They started last week, had success, but because they fell behind, their attitude changed and they started doing things maybe they didn't want to do. But as you said, Mike Clemens is such a big part of this offense. First play, you hate to see him leave.
2nd down and 8, Argos from their 53. Ricky Foggy. No huddle offense. Foggy calling the play. Wants a quick pass, can't find anybody now, throws long for Mazzotti, and he can't grab it down at the 20-yard line. It was Murray, not Mazzotti. A catchable football for Andrew Murray, but he could not give the Argos a big play, and they haven't had many of those in their games with Winnipeg this year.
Well, to start the game, good protection by the offensive line. It was a short drop. The ball's thrown where it has to be, so the receiver can adjust away from the coverage to the outside, dropped it right in his hands, and as you said, could have been a catch and probably should have been.
Not an easy catch, but the ball was there. Nicely thrown by Foggy. 3rd down and 8, Argos from their 53. Glenn Harper. Good snap, lots of time, and a good kick away. Eric Streeter at the Bomber 11-yard line. Streeter is across the 20 and out near the 24. A 13-yard return of a 46-yard punt by Glenn Harper. Streeter put back on those punt return teams just 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Mike Riley describes one of the differences in this football team, and offensively speaking, has been execution. Not just plain and simple execution, but when you're under fire, being able to pick up the blitzes, make the right reads, and a lot of it, I think, has to go to the play of Tom Burgess. In the last 3 games, the 3 wins that they've had, they've scored on their first possession. And I'm sure Burgess would like to do exactly the same thing here.
Mike Clemens, we're told, will be okay and return to the Argo lineup. There's a flag down as Burgess rolls left on 1st down and will try to get out of bounds. His speed is not able to get him there, and he's tackled at the 26-yard line after a gain of a couple. Ford moved over to make the stop. The penalty against the Blue Bombers, so the Argos, I would guess, will decline and leave Winnipeg in a 2nd and 8. Burgess was intercepted last week against the Argos.
Offside. Winnipeg number 64. 1st down repeated.
Bob Molly was offside, and the interception he threw was the first that he'd thrown in 113 passes. He'd thrown 113 consecutive passes without being picked off, and that's been one of the real improvements, Neil, in Tom Burgess's game, is he's not giving the ball away anymore.
That kind of consistency, not only from your quarterback, from other players on the team, be it the running backs, not fumbling the football, consecutive catches. Everyone has their goals, and to be able to complete them, I'm sure that's one of a quarterback has, is don't throw the ball up unnecessarily, and especially don't throw interceptions.
Offside. Winnipeg number 64. Decline. 2nd down.
Molly must have been lined up offside. Usually it's procedure and movement, but his hand must have been ahead of the football.
Argos had a choice of putting Winnipeg in 1st and 15 or 2nd and 8. They opted for the latter. Burgess sends Murphy wide left, Streeter to the right. Bombers have scored in their first offensive drive in each of their last 3 games, and the long pass is intended for James Murphy, but Reggie Pleasant doesn't allow him to get to it at the Argo 40-yard line. So Winnipeg will not score in their first offensive series in this game.
That streak is over. Good coverage downfield. Clemens has to get the ball up and air it out early. He has pressure by Harold Hallman, and they're going to have to force Burgess to throw the ball when he doesn't want to. In that situation, when you go long, you can let the receiver run under it. But if it's a timing pattern or something over the middle, that kind of pressure is going to mess up an offensive play.
Tom Burgess does look a lot like Tom Clemens, so it's okay for you to refer to him that way, because I did it last week. Here's Pinball Clemens at the 36-yard line. And he looks like he's all right after hurting his ankle. Mike Clemens down the sideline and into Winnipeg territory. Just underway at the sky. Return by Mike Clemens has put the Argos at the Bomber 42-yard line. Winnipeg special teams very good. They don't allow those types of returns very often. But it puts Toronto in a good spot to open the scoring in this game. We're just underway at the Sky Dome. Ricky Foggy throws for Darrell Smith, and he has it at the Bomber 29. Haley brings him down, but a gain of 13. Smith has a catch already. He only had 2 against Winnipeg 8 days ago.
Good field position because of good return. See the offensive lineman from overhead, a great shot. Bovell coming up, showing blitz. Clemens steps up, makes the block on the linebacker. That block allows the completion to Smith. You've got to make those mental assignments and then follow them through. Missing linebackers, that's what breaks plays.
13-yard gain, good accuracy by Foggy on the throw as the Argos at the Winnipeg 29. Delayed handoff to Mike Clemens across the 25 and down near the Bomber 23 for a gain of 6.
A delay handoff. Start the motion one way. Here go the offensive linemen, 64. Scamp and Prusner, they're pulling. One will kick out. One tries to seal. Good hustle from the backside by Quincy Williams. His trademark, according to Mike Riley, he gets to the ball and he hustles. When he's not in, as he missed a couple games this year, they say they miss his hustle more than anything else.
2nd and 4 Argos at the Blue Bomber 23-yard line. The fake to Clemens. Ricky Foggy under pressure throws. Jeff Boyd diving at the 1-yard line, and they say no, he did not catch it. Good effort by the former Bomber, Jeff Boyd.
Well, the ball doesn't get there because Foggy is pressured by Williams once again. If he has a chance to set himself and throw, watch how he's leaning back here when he throws the football. That's because Quincy Williams. If he could have stepped forward just a bit more, it's a much easier catch, or it would have been a catch by Boyd.
While the booing is for the replay they just showed at Sky Dome on that pass to Boyd. Now, Jeff Boyd didn't argue, which usually is a tip-off, that he didn't catch it. It's 3rd down and 4 Argos, a 30-yard field goal try by Lance Chomik. And it's low, but it's through there. And this season, the Argos were outscored 39-7 in the first quarter, but they've scored first here tonight with a Chomik field goal, and now he kicks off. Waiting for it at the 15-yard line is Ken Haley across the 30. Haley's up to the 36, maybe the 37 of the Blue Bombers. Brought down by Keith Kelly, a 21-yard return of a 60-yard kickoff.
As I look at Burgess and his statistics in the last few games and the successes that the Bombers have had offensively, one thing that jumps out at me is that he has spread the ball around very effectively. I don't know if the days of James Murphy catching 10 or 12 passes, they will happen, but not as frequently because of the quality that they have in the way Burgess plays. He'll spread it out and also keeps the defense spread out.
Burgess and the Bomber offense from their 36, the toss to Robert Mims, the only 1,000-yard rusher in the CFL. And Mims has a gain of 2, maybe 3, operating behind a very good offensive line that protects quarterback Tom Burgess, running backs Robert Mims and Warren Hudson. The receiving corps minus Perry Tuttle tonight. Lee Hull replacing him and James Murphy back. He missed the last 2 games. Rick House, the surprise, if I can use that term, with the production he's had this year as a full-time player. And the offensive line anchored by center Lyle Bauer, Walby and Rhoda Huskers, the tackles Molly and Benjamin, the guards. 2nd down and 7, and it's a screen to Robert Mims, but he's going nowhere. The Argos react. Rodney Harding makes the play.
Well, Mike Riley had mentioned to us that the one fellow that did give them problems last week in Winnipeg was Rodney Harding. His pursuit and his quickness to be able to get off a block. And what you see here is he reads and makes the movement down the line. The block is being made on it, but he changes direction. When there is a cutback, he has the position. He hasn't given himself up to one side, so he can make that cutback.
Bob Cameron putting for the second time in the game from his 25-yard line, and he doesn't hit it very well, but he's going to get a bounce out of it, and it's a good one. Clemens back at the Argo 34. Mike Clemens gets away from a horde of Bombers. Darrell Sampson finally corrals him, but Clemens keeps going across the 50-yard line.
Well, I'll tell you what, just when you thought it was safe to go back to the bench and get a drink of water, all of a sudden Mike Clemens breaks free. They've got him corralled. Allen's got the outside. They've got him contained, but the quick feet, his ability and his movement, both laterally and up the field, and even sometimes backwards to evade a tackler, is just outstanding.
Pinball has decided he wants to be a factor in this game tonight. He has already a 31-yard punt return, set up the Argo field goal, and they start this drive from their 52, and Foggy goes long down the left side, and it's knocked away by Les Brown. Pass was intended for Paul Mazzotti. Ricky Foggy with Kevin Smelly and Mike Clemens in his backfield. This is the 8th game with the Argos for Foggy. Murray and Smith, the slot backs. Jeff Boyd with over 800 yards, and Paul Mazzotti, the wide receivers. And the offensive line, the same group that has been there for just about the entire season. 32-year-old Ian Beckstead in the middle of it. 2nd and 10, Argos at their 52. They lead 3-0. 8.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. 3 receivers wide right now, 4 and 2 to the left, no backs. As Foggy drops back, here comes pressure. He gets away and fumbles the ball. Randolph knocked it loose, and then Foggy recovers way back at the Argo 28-yard line.
Just great hustle by Randolph. That'll be his 4th sack. They spread the receivers out. There's no one in the backfield to protect. They want to make a quick read and get a mismatch. Foggy doesn't even get a chance to see if that mismatch was realized because of Randolph's hustle. And boy, those linebackers, their front 7 can move, but those 4 linebackers especially can cover some field.
You know, the theory when you put out 6 receivers like that, the theory is that they can't blitz you because they have to cover the receivers. Unless they decide to blitz, then you have to get it away quickly, and Foggy couldn't do it.
Nope. Didn't even get a chance to look at it.
3rd down and 34 for the Argos, a 24-yard loss. Harper's kick bounces at center field. Looked like it hit a Toronto player, and the flags come down now as Streeter attempts to return the punt, but the whistle, I believe, in the stoppage in play was because the football hit a Toronto 4 times and then met them in the playoffs.
During the regular season?
Well, I think that the psychology and emotion of games, probably we don't even realize how big of a part that plays. Supposedly, psychologically, and we've lost those games, so that game will be a separate game. This game is very important to us because we want to be first place. That's our #1 thing that we want to attain right now, and that's all we're really concentrating on.
And he's excited about that opportunity to be able to clinch first place at this point in the season.
Argos netted only 19 yards on that punt, the no yards penalty against Toronto because the ball hit one of their players, so the Bombers are at the Toronto 47-yard line. Burgess looking long down the right side, and it's no good down at the 5-yard line. Ken Winey, who's back in the Winnipeg lineup after a long absence, was the intended receiver. That's twice already, Neil, that Burgess has tried to throw long, and in their last 3 or 4 games, they haven't thrown a lot of long passes.
Well, sometimes that long passes opens up a little later in the game. Winnipeg has often been effective working the middle with Rick House, their #1 receiver, coming into the game, with Lee Hull. I guess it just depends how things unfold.
Mike Riley's 4th year as Bomber head coach. 2nd and 10 Bombers. The Argo 47-yard line. Burgess, lots of time. Throws. Warren Hudson, pardon me, to the 40, the 35, and inside of the Argo 32-yard line. That's a gain of 15, and that's a first down for the Blue Bombers. Their first of the game against the Toronto Argo defense, which has good, strong people up front in Harding, Hallman, Parker, and Keith Browner, acquired just a few weeks ago. Chris Gaines, 2nd leading tackler in the CFL. The middle linebacker, Ford and Moen. Moen's 151st consecutive game tonight in the secondary. Dave Van Bellingham is the starting safety. Chris Munford broke his ankle last week in Toronto. Burgess pressure, but he throws and completes inside the 20 to the 18-yard line of the Argos. Lee Hull on the receiving end.
You know, sometimes as a quarterback, you don't know when you're going to get hit, and then the other times you're looking right down the tunnel, and you bet Tom Burgess knows Hallman's coming. He knows he's going to be taken down, and you can see what he sees downfield. When the receiver's going to come open, he has to hang in there and give himself a chance to complete that pass with Hull working downfield.
14-yard gain. The Bombers first and 10 at the Argo 18. Toronto leading 3-0, just over 6 minutes to go opening quarter. Burgess throws for Warren Hudson as he was forced up in the pocket, but he was well behind Hudson on the throw. Tom Burgess has his mom and dad, his Uncle Fred, and about 18 other family members. I'm serious. His Uncle Fred comes to every game in the East, and about 18 other family members here watching him at the Sky Dome.
Well, the Bombers have a number of players in the team. Rod Hill has his parents and family, or grandmother coming up. Tyrone Jones from St. Mary's, Georgia. His parents are up here. So this is in self-imposed pressure for the individuals.
Burgess 2nd and 10 from the 18. Into the end zone for Murphy, and it's intercepted by Pleasant. James Murphy tried to knock it down, but he couldn't get there. By the Blue Bombers from the 18-yard line of the Argos, Reggie Pleasant with an interception.
Burgess has Warren Hudson to the right side. It's a bit of a sprint, a throwback. He looks, then turns back to the one side. He again is throwing from his back foot, not as much strength. And when he does throw the ball, it may hang a bit. But look at Pleasant, number 2. He makes the cut almost like he's the receiver. He knows the pattern, and he reacts well.
9th interception of the year for Pleasant, one short of the Toronto single-season record. Ricky Foggy gets away from the pressure and across the 35 to the 36. Randolph brought him down, but Foggy has a first down. One thing he did well last week in Winnipeg was he ran well. He ran for 85 yards.
Fake the Statue of Liberty.
And they're 37. And this enjoying a fabulous year. Cornerbacks Hill and Brown with 9 and 12 interceptions respectively, and rookie Dave Bovell at safety, who's really had a fine year. 2nd down and 3. Argos handoff Smelly across the 45 to the 47, maybe the 48. That'll be a Toronto first down. 4:15 left opening quarter. The Argos lead 3-0.
Okay, let's do that. So you won't take your step. I got the right up back there. You got the right up back. Now you're right up there.
Coach Mike Levenseller, who played in the CFL, had some great years in Edmonton, going over some things with the defensive backs.
Ricky Foggy again with the no huddle from the Argo 48-yard line. Foggy to Smelly out of the backfield, and he's across the 50 up near the 53-yard line for a gain of about 5 yards. One thing Foggy didn't do in Winnipeg, Neil, according to Don Matthews, is take what's there, and in that situation the Bombers in zone, and he just dropped it off to Smelly. Bob Irving and Neil Lumsden at the Sky Dome in Toronto. 3 minutes 20 seconds left opening quarter.
Winnipeg, if you start to force things, I think you get into trouble. So take what's available. There's something that has to be, and people are working hard, receivers, and trying to get open.
2nd and 5. Foggy will go long looking for Jeff Boyd, and he can't quite get to it at the Winnipeg 15-yard line. Foggy wanted it all that time, not just a little bit.
Boyd had some position behind Rod Hill, but wasn't able to stretch it out.
Jeff Boyd has a chance at his 5th 1,000-yard receiving season, 809 yards on the year entering this game.
And he's done it very quietly. I don't know if he's had a big game, as Jeff Boyd would say. He's had a couple over 100 yards, but he was hurt earlier on in the season, but he's just picking away. But you know he's the type of receiver that can give you those big games.
Watch the Argos when they kick. You never know what will happen. This is Harper, and he will punt it, and he hit it very poorly. It bounces at the 35 and goes out of bounds at the Bomber 30.
And we turned the ball over 2 or 3 times in plus territory and came away with no points, and that's just not acceptable. 2, we have to play at a higher level. We have to raise our game up because Winnipeg's game is last week was higher than ours. We have to get up equal or better to them, and that's our job.
Rick House with a first down reception. Don Wilson with a hit, making House pay for it. A 5-yard gain for the Blue Bombers. And the Argos, Neil, in every game with Winnipeg this year have been on the short end of the turnover category, and that's a good way to lose a game, is turn it over more often than the other team. We'll call it 2nd and 6. Blue Bombers from their 37.5-yard line. Burgess fakes the delayed handoff, throws for James Murphy, and Pleasant reaches in to knock it away.
Well, again, great coverage by Reggie Pleasant. Not only does he get a chance to secure downfield with one hand behind the receiver and a hand in front, but you're going to see him jump around afterwards. Look at this. He has enough time to come all the way around to make sure that he knocks the ball down. And he's tight on Murphy.
Burgess trying very hard to get James Murphy involved. His first game back. Reggie Pleasant's had a big year. That interception was his 9th.
You can't say that it won't happen again, because that's how the game unfolded. And if Winnipeg might not have taken advantage of it. I mean, they could have turned it back over, but they didn't.
Better start for the Argos tonight. They lead 3-0. Bob Cameron, excellent punt. Mike Clemens at the Toronto 25-yard line. Clemens has had 2 good punt returns already. Here comes another one. Center field, the Bomber 50, and down at the 45-yard line.
Let Clemens get rid of the first guy on his own. Let him shake and bake him a little bit, then move downfield. Along with the good return by Clemens, the other 11 guys are working hard to get into a position for him to give him that lane down the sidelines.
It's very uncharacteristic for the Blue Bombers. Ken Haley shaken up on that play, as teams seldom have good punt returns against them. On the other hand, Mike Clemens is going to do that to you. He's just a talent.
In so many different ways, and I'm sure he gives many a coach nightmares before the game even starts.
3 punt returns, 89 yards for Clemens, as we take an overhead look. Ricky Foggy away from center quickly. Albert Williams chasing. Foggy dodges a couple of Bombers and is to the Winnipeg 35 and close to a Toronto first down with 1:04 left in the first quarter.
Well, with any running quarterback, Winnipeg realizes you can't give Foggy any chance to run.
5-yard line. Foggy, delayed handoff again, the counter play. Clemens to the 30 of Winnipeg, and just a little bit across. Don Matthews said we have to run the ball better tonight, and they have run it fairly well in this first quarter.
And they like that type of play where they show some movement to the one side, this case to the wide side of the field. Then they give the ball very deep to Mike Clemens. You watch when he does get handoffs, not all the times, but many situations on delay plays. He's a good 5.5, 6 yards deep, which allows him to go along laterally, then find that seam and hit it like not too many people can.
2nd down and 4 at the Bomber 29. This will be the final play of the first quarter unless we have a penalty. Foggy with only 1 setback, and that's Smelly, if you want to call him a setback. He's more in the slot. Foggy puts it up deep, and it's no good. Intended for Clemens, who was one-on-one with Greg Battle, but Foggy couldn't hook up with him. But the Argos lead Winnipeg, the Sky Dome. The Argos lead the Blue Bombers 3-0. Lance Chomick, an Edmonton native who still returns home in the offseason to teach school there, will try a 36-yard field goal. He's 1 for 1 on the night. And somebody's offside. If it's Winnipeg, it'll be an Argo first down.
And there wasn't just a little movement. They came off the ball. I guess if you're going to do it, you might as well do it full speed and then complain that an offensive player moved.
Mike Riley has not seen his team make many of those kinds of errors lately, but those are oh so costly when it's 3rd and less than 5 and you go offside.
Left side of the offense or the right side of the defensive line just came across hard. You could hear them complaining that an offensive lineman moved, but it was not seen that way. So Toronto's 1st and 10 on the Winnipeg 24.
And have another chance to put the ball in the end zone. No setbacks again for Foggy. 6 receivers out. Bombers with a 4-man rush gives Foggy some time. He puts it in the end zone. Clemens all alone, and he can't get to it. Mike Clemens had really beaten linebacker Paul Randolph. Oh, and wouldn't Foggy love to have that one back?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think that's an understatement. The reason they're spreading the receivers out is they're trying to get a mismatch. And they get it with Clemens, who's really in the slot spot on Paul Randolph. He pushes in and then breaks it to the corner. And break it to the corner he does. And just, Clemens had been 6'2", he might have had a chance.
Breakdown in the Bomber backfield defensively. The Argos miss a chance to burn them. 2nd and 10 at the Winnipeg 24. Here comes the pressure. Foggy's pass is complete at the 18-yard line, but Rod Hill is right there to make the tackle and stop Toronto short of a first down. Jeff Boyd, the receiver.
Bob, you spoke about this earlier. If you're going to get a mismatch downfield, you better get pressure early. And Albert Williams, 72, comes in hard, and that ball was just thrown between the raised arms of Williams. But that's what you have to do.
Rod Hill, I think, is upset because he was about a step away from an interception there. It's 3rd down, and again, less than 5, about 4 for the Argos. Chomik will attempt a 29-yard field goal, 24-yarder, pardon me. The kick is up, and it's good. And the Argos with a 6-0 lead over Winnipeg. Just over a minute into the 2nd quarter at the Skydome. Chomik kicks off down to the 12-yard line, and that's Ken Haley bringing it back. He stumbles as he crosses the 30 and is out to the 32, maybe the 33-yard line.
Dr. Jackson of the Toronto Argos was looking at Rick Foggy's right hand. He was standing before, shaking it around a little bit, and you can see the 2 first fingers taped together. He seems like either he's jammed it or he's popped it into a helmet. They continue to look at him. I don't know how tough it is to throw a football with your fingers taped together. I would think you'd like them spread in a natural situation.
I think it would be fairly tough. John Congemi, the backup for the Argos at quarterback tonight. Toronto with 71 yards of offense. Winnipeg only 35 so far in the game, and they don't get much more there on a first down handoff to Robert Mims.
Well, quick penetration by Keith Browner at the end really disrupted the play early. So again, a deep handoff, but see how Browner beats the block, comes inside and slows down the back. When you slow a back down, that hole's only going to stay open so long. The rest of the Argo defense converged.
Browner's played so well since joining the Argos about 6 weeks ago. 2nd and 11, Blue Bombers. Burgess to the sideline for Murphy. He goes high, but he's well out of bounds by the time the football got there. And Winnipeg's offense and Tom Burgess once again stalls. So Burgess is not having the kind of opening that he has had in the last 3 weeks when the Bombers beat Saskatchewan, Edmonton, and Toronto.
John Congemi, we referred to Ricky Foggy's finger. We still really don't know what's wrong with it, but we do see Congemi warming up as Foggy sees how his hand is going to respond, not only to throw the ball, but taking a snap.
Argos came close in Winnipeg to blocking Bob Cameron punts on a number of occasions. They haven't yet tonight, and Cameron gets another good kick away. Mike Clemens, and he's been good at running these back tonight at his 30-yard line. This time the Bombers are able to stop.
He was on the sidelines on that right hand, is now off. Evidently, I was correct. You can't throw a ball very well when you really, in effect, have 3 fingers on the ball and not 4.
Foggy might be good, but I don't know if he's that good. Be able to throw the ball with a couple of fingers taped together. He'll stay in. Argos from their 32-yard line with a 6-0 lead. 3 minutes into the 2nd quarter. Foggy fakes the delayed handoff and then drops it to Clemens coming out of the backfield, but he can't hang on. Greg Battle was right there, and so was the ball.
Bob, the running backs are just simply free releasing. Linebackers are dropping off. Winnipeg in that particular play just bringing 4, and Foggy doing what Don Matthews said he has to do. Take what's available. The linebackers are going to drop deep. Throw to the backs when they release out in front of the linebackers.
Foggy's done a good job of that tonight. 2nd down and 10. Argos at their 32. Bombers come with a blitz. Foggy steps away from Battle. Tyrone Jones after him. Foggy gets away from him and along the sidelines gets close to a first down.
You mentioned the blitz. That's exactly what Winnipeg comes with. They utilize their people. Here comes Battle right there. The front 3 are consistent. Tyrone Jones is in the middle. He pops back out, but he can't get a good handle on Foggy. And he becomes very close, about a yard away from the first down.
3rd down and a yard for Don Matthews in the Argos. And Matthews, who's not afraid to take chances, will take one here. At least a small chance. Normally, this is fairly automatic. 3rd and 1. Foggy keeps, and the first contact had him stopped, but he was able to spin away. Leon Hatziano had him by the legs, but he was able to spin away and get the first down.
Not exactly a short yardage offense that we've seen other teams play with. Normally people bring in a couple of defensive linemen as tight ends, line up a full house backfield. No, we haven't blacked anybody out. There's just no one in the backfield, and Foggy's going to take a step to his right. But look at right there, Hatziano, super quickness, gets underneath Beckstead and almost stopped him cold.
They measure, and he did get the first down. So the Argos, with 11 minutes left in the first half and a 6-0 lead, keep the ball.
Bob, you mentioned earlier how stingy the Bombers have been giving up points or not giving up points. They're #1 in defense in the CFL. They've only given up 313 points. #2 are the Edmonton Eskimos, who are always stingy, have given up 402.
Here's Clemens on a first down handoff, decides to go back the other way with it and squirts across the 45-yard line up to the 47, maybe the 48. Boy, he's fun to watch. Mike Clemens, he's over 2,500 yards now on the season in total yardage. Again, kick returns, running and receiving. The record is 2,896. Rufus Crawford set it with Hamilton in 1984. Pinball should break it if he can stay healthy for the last 3 games. 2nd down and 6. Argos at their 47. Here comes pressure from Williams, but the pass is completed to Darrell Smith. And he's to the Winnipeg 39-yard line.
It must have seemed like forever for both Rick Foggy, who threw the ball, and Smith, who's going to make the cut. Everyone pushes back. 30 Sampson turns away from him and then makes the cut. That's why they had some time to complete that pass.
And John Kangemi has just entered the game. That catch by Darrell Smith, his 2nd of the game.
I think he also took a shot. I mean, he threw under duress, as you would. I think you consider that pressure.
Again, you see him grabbing his right hand with his left, and that's the area of concern once more. So Foggy is bothered by whatever that problem is, and we'll find out for you. And John Kangemi will come on to quarterback the Argos, at least for now, and he has not played very much in the last 6 or 7 weeks.
Hard smaller, but the hamstring is a very sensitive part of the body. You don't want to rush him back.
And last play gained 23 yards from the Winnipeg 39. Kangemi hands off to Clemens. Battle, and Albert Williams make the stop on Mike Clemens, who works hard to get a couple of yards. But when you talk about the outstanding linebackers in the CFL, Neil, you can't leave out Greg Battle, can you?
No, a product of Arizona State, and all he's done since he's come into Winnipeg is chase down the ball. He's their prototype linebacker. Good in pass coverage, and with that defense, that attack style defense, as we see Rick Foggy getting that right hand attended to again. I mean, he's perfect. He's the James West.
290, give or take 5 pounds. Leaves the game. Jim Kardash will come into play for him. Greg Battle in his 4th year, as you said. All-Canadian and a runner-up as the top defensive player in the CFL last year. So Kangemi, for his 2nd play, will have 2nd down and 8. Close to the Bomber 38-yard line. Long count. Kangemi with some time, and he rifles it over the middle, but it's no good. Down at the 33-yard line. Clemens was the intended receiver.
And Argos once again in a position to score 7 are going to have to settle, or hopefully settle, according to, I'm sure, Lance Chomick, for 3 points.
Chomick was 3 for 3 against the Bombers a week ago Friday at Winnipeg Stadium. 2 for 2 tonight, so he's on a streak. And this attempt will come from the 45-yard line of Winnipeg. Jimmy to hold. Again, you never know what the Argos are going to do in kicking situations, but we haven't seen any fakes yet tonight. Chomik has plenty of distance, and it's right through there, and the Argos have a 9-0 lead. Molson and CFL.
Chris Schultz for the Argos is getting a tape job or a retape job.
Burgess throws to Hudson, and he can't make a one-handed catch at the Winnipeg 40. The Bomber offense has sputtered so far in the game. 8:09 left, second quarter. Argos ahead 9-0. In their last 3 games at the Sky Dome, the Argos have scored 198 points. That's, yes, you're right, that's about 65 a game.
And if they plan to do or keep up with that kind of pace, they're going to have to do a little bit more than kick field goals.
They'll have to crank it up, but they're happy, I'm sure, to be up 9-0 over Winnipeg. Burgess, second down and 10 from the 35 of Winnipeg. Plenty of time. And now he throws it to Hudson, who reaches out and grabs this one, and then reaches ahead with the ball to the 43.5 of the Bombers. But that leaves Winnipeg a 1.5 yards short of a first down. And I don't think Mike Riley will gamble with close to 2 yards to go.
Well, watching Burgess drop back and the good protection by the offensive line, he looked downfield and looked to his number 2 and number 1 receivers, not necessarily in that order, and then had to settle for Warren Hudson out in the flat. The Argos must be dropping, as they are, their linebackers, and really not giving anything underneath to Tom Burgess.
Bob Cameron has been very good tonight. His average on the season, 42.5, the 3rd best in the CFL. This one he tries to kick away from Clemens. Clemens lets it bounce, and it goes by him. Mike Clemens retreats way back to his 10-yard line, now to the 9. Bombers stay outside that 5-yard zone, and they're able to maintain that, and Clemens busts through the right side across the 20 to the 22, a 12-yard return. First half at the Sky Dome in Toronto. The Argos lead Winnipeg 9-0. Toronto first and 10 from its 22. Clemens across the 25 and spinning up to the 28. Albert Williams made the stop.
Clemens' start of the game has had some effect. Smelly comes out and does position himself to block Battle, but Smelly doesn't know where the ball's coming from, and Battle, keeping an eye on not only the blocker but the running back, has the opportunity to react and react well.
Battle helped on the tackle, but did Clemens ever freeze him with a little cut? Second and 3 from the 29. From Jimmy, and down he goes back at the 22. Tyrone Jones finished him off after Albert Williams cut off his running route.
Well, this is the 2nd or 3rd time Albert Williams has refused to give up the outside. He steps down. Michael Gray works to the outside. They've got a bit of a stunt to bring Gray to the outside to keep that contained, but still Williams fights through the block and cuts off Konjimi.
Albert Williams has been a force on defense for Winnipeg this year, one of the new faces on the defensive team. Glenn Harper on 3rd down and 10 now, back from the Argo 22, stands at his 8-yard line to get this punt off. Argos look like they're a man short, and Harper will take the time count violation. It'll cost Toronto 5 yards, but it's worth it to get that 12th man on the field.
Oh, without question.
Time count violation. Toronto number 11. 3rd down repeated.
I wonder if Don Matthews has an automatic fine for that kind of thing.
I would. I don't think there's any excuse for that situation. You know what special teams you're on, especially if you're not a starter. I'm not saying that's the case here, but you have to know where you're supposed to be and when you're supposed to be there.
So it's 3rd and 15. Harper gets the kickoff. It'll bounce at the Argo 50. Streeter picks it up there and is inside the 45 to the 40 of the Argos, and across into near the 38-yard line. Well, our Molson MVP and our from outside of 50 yards. Tom Burgess and the Winnipeg offense shut out so far, have a good start at the Argo 38-yard line as we look from overhead at the Sky Dome. Burgess finds Streeter to the 30 and inside close to the 28 and close to a first down. Ed Berry with the tackle.
That's one way to shake the coverage, and Toronto has been showing tight coverage on the Winnipeg receivers, but Streeter running a bit of a comeback where he's going to force even tight coverage and then make it almost impossible, but not totally, to make the play. He comes back a good 4 or 5 yards and gets good separation away from Ed Barry.
They'll measure for the first down. Streeter has been quite an acquisition, signed yards, but he scored 8 touchdowns and has been a real clutch receiver for the Bombers.
Played college at University of North Carolina, and in his freshman year started as a quarterback. But I guess he didn't see enough playing time and figured he'd be more effective, and I'm sure the coaches thought the same thing, to move to wide receiver, and he's been there ever since.
It's second down and inches, and the Bombers take out the wide receivers, put in Tyrone Jones, Greg Battle, and a couple of other heavyweights. Will they run or will they put it in the air on second and inches? They're going to throw. Burgess does a nice job of getting away, tries to hit Matt Pierce. It's incomplete, but give Burgess credit for keeping that from turning into a disaster.
Really, no sooner does he get to the position, I think, where he wants to set up a little roll to his right, and the pressure's in his face, and some fancy footwork buys him some time, but it wasn't going to get any better downfield because the coverage was so good. See Wilson blitzing from this halfback spot and the short side of the field.
So it's third down now and inches. The Bombers keep the same alignment out there, but there won't be any passing this time. Hand off right side, and that's Warren Hudson. He didn't get much, but enough, it looked like, for the first down. That's only the third first down
along the line of scrimmage, and how the defense reacts, how they start to move and stay as close to the line of scrimmage, moving laterally so they don't have too much depth, so when they do step up, they've usually got a good collision and will minimize any power, any strength going straight ahead.
That third first down for the Bombers moves the ball to the Argo 27. Robert Mims will carry to the 24, maybe the 23. Robert Mims, the leading rusher in the CFL, went over 1,000 yards last week with more than 100 against the Argos.
Sprint action with the draw. Mims is that type of runner that doesn't waste any time getting through a hole. I think that's one of the reasons he fits into this Bomber mold at the running back. Good blocker and wastes no time getting upfield.
Second down and 6. Blue Bombers at the Argo 23. Burgess just releases it over the middle. They're down to the 19-yard line. That's Warren Hudson, but they'll be a couple of yards short of a first down. Warren Hudson has personal best this year in receiving yardage with 349 and rushing 188. Mike Riley finding out how far they have to go. Tom Burgess says we only have a yard, but in fact they have closer to 2.
But you know what? Burgess changed the coach's minds with that reaction that we saw. Because the field goal team was 5-6 yards on the field ready to go.
Yeah, he talked Mike Riley into going for this one, so they'll gamble on third down and not quite 2 yards. Hand off right side, that's Hudson, and he dives toward the Argo 16-yard line and looks like he got enough for the first down. 2 minutes, 50 seconds left in the first half. 16. Burgess swings it out to Robert Mims to the 15, down to the 10-yard line. They ruled that he stepped out at the 10. It'll be a gain of 6. 2 minutes and 36 seconds left in the first half.
Everyone's covered downfield, and the backs will swing to the wide side or to the outside when the linebackers don't come. Here's the work of the offensive line. Nice pocket, pushing people to the outside. The offensive line of the Bombers have been very efficient, maybe the most efficient this year as far as giving up sacks. They've given up the least in the CFL, having only 23 sacks.
2nd and 4, Bombers at the Argo 10. Burgess will take off, put his head down, and get close to the 7, which would be probably close enough for Mike Riley to decide and go for it on third down.
As the pocket collapses, Burgess will find that seam vacated by Harold Hallman. Lyle Bauer at the center will take the block and take him away, and that's what he did there. That's why that crease opens up.
Initially, there was a lot of room for Burgess, but he didn't see Browner coming over, and he closed it off very quickly. Burgess thought for a minute he might have been able to run into the end zone with it.
Well, one of Browner's attributes, he used to be a linebacker when he played his college football at USC, and I think Toronto likes that style. He's an end or rush end type of guy. And those are the types of plays Toronto expects from him.
3rd down and a yard, Bombers. And touchdown, Robert Mims.
Good run. Excellent run. Watch the offensive line. Good lead block by Warren Hudson on the linebacker. Hudson turns the man outside. They seal the inside, and Mims makes a slight shuffle step and then blows into the end zone.
7th touchdown of the year for Robert Mims. Trevor Kennard adds the convert, and it's now the Argos 9 and the Blue Bombers 7. Mims is in his first year in the CFL, but he is not a rookie. He spent some time on an NFL roster.
Again, watch Warren Hudson right there on gains. He knocks him back. You don't have to be spectacular, but he pops him enough to give Mims some room. And then the right side of the offensive line, Bauer, Benjamin, and Walby, they reach and they get that surge. They use that strength and that weight on the right side just enough to lean them in and give Mims some room.
That was a 9-play, 38-yard drive. That's really nickeling and diming it.
And
Ball
a key
control.
3rd down. Key 3rd down play.
Yeah, well, the touchdown run was on 3rd down, and they had a 3rd and almost 2 that they converted. So the Bomber offense, which had shown little life in the first quarter and a half, puts a drive together that produces a touchdown, and it's a 2-point game. Argos 9, Winnipeg 7, with 2:12 left in the first half. Trevor Kennard's kickoff, and this will go out of bounds at the Argo 24-yard line. So
You want us to get the field 70 yards wide, 80 yards, is 65 just not enough for you to put the ball in play?
you don't think anybody said that to him, do you?
No, but they will. They'll
Later.
have to kid him, sure.
Yeah. So Kennard will kick it from the 30 now. Bombers can sew up first place if they win tonight. The Argos still haven't clinched a playoff spot, but if they win this evening, they'll do that and get to within 2 points of Winnipeg. This kickoff will stay in play. Smelly at the Argo 26-yard line. Kevin Smelly across the 45 and up to the 47. Well, tonight at halftime, after midnight, well, maybe he does. 1st and 10, Argos at their 48, 2:05 left in the first half. Here's Clemens gaining no yards. Michael Gray leading the Bomber tacklers. There was a lot of cheering when the Bombers scored that touchdown. There are, Neil, a number of Winnipeg fans here.
And then when they've had a chance to have some fun and be vocal, they have been vocal. And why not? The Bombers have very quietly gone about their business this year and established themselves as one of the best teams, if not the best team in the CFL at this point.
2nd down and 10. Argos. John Kangemi stays in at quarterback and throws, and this is intercepted by Greg Battle. And Battle is still on his feet inside the 40 to the Argo 39. First turnover of the game by the Argos, and Greg Battle has the interception.
Well, you want to talk about throwing the ball into congestion. It's a perfect view because the ball is going to be thrown across the face of Battle. See him drop straight back behind the referee. The coverage is that the ball's going to Clemens, but he's tied up. He can't get to the ball, and Battle's there to receive it. And if you give it away, sometimes you're called on to make the tackle.
Well, John Kangemi had to make the stop. As you point out, the Bombers, with 1:38 left in the half, have a great chance to take the lead now. Mims carrying from the 39, but Quick Parker is there to meet him. The ball comes loose, but the play had been whistled dead. What an outstanding play by Quick Parker.
No question. Parker lives up to his name. Quick here. See him just at the top of your screen. He beats the block. He gets upfield first. And you can't describe James Parker any better, and that's the way he used to play on every play. And I don't know if they might have a case for a quick whistle, because that ball came out awfully fast.
Well, the fans think it was a quick whistle, and you're right, they have a case, but the play continues. It's 2nd down, Blue Bombers. Burgess on the run. to the 40, and he is straightened up there and thrown back by 3 Argos, Chris Gaines among them.
Burgess can be very effective when he sprints out, and he has plenty of time. But that time closes very quickly, and the good coverage downfield, Burgess chooses not to try to force the ball, especially force a turnover at this part of the field. And when he runs, so do the linebackers and the defense of the Argos.
And Trevor Kennard will not be kicking a 48-yard field goal. It's a Bob Cameron punt. There are flags down as Clemens catches it on the run at the 3, across the 10, across the 20, into the 23-yard line with 53. And that will give Winnipeg a first down, I believe.
Winnipeg just got their men on the field, realized that Toronto was in that situation, and snapped the ball. The Bombers weren't ready.
Too many men. Toronto. 3rd down repeated.
But they were more prepared than Toronto.
Too many men on the field is the call. And that's going to move the football to the Argo 31-yard line. It's a 10-yard penalty, so it leaves Winnipeg with 3rd down and 3. And now the Bombers will send out their field goal team. Don Matthews upset that they let the play start before his team was lined up. That's entirely the referee's prerogative. Kennard will attempt a 38-yard field goal with Bob Cameron holding. And it's good, so the Blue Bombers capitalize on the battle interception and take a 1-point lead, 10-9, with 49 seconds left. From the 35, Kangemi still has some time to try and do something, but Clemens is grabbed by Battle. 44 seconds left in the half. Greg Battle has had quite a first half.
To update you on why John Kangemi is in leading the Argo offense is because Foggy started the game but had to leave into the second quarter because of a sprained finger on his throwing hand. We haven't seen him since.
Here's the no-huddle offense, 2nd down and 11. Argos at their 34-yard line. Kangemi out of the backfield to Clemens, across the 45 to the 47, and that's a Toronto first down. 27 seconds left in the half. Kevin Smelly comes in from the bench with a play. Andrew Murray leaves. The Argos will attempt to get into field goal range. John Kangemi calling a play, but burning up valuable time while he does it. Now he feels satisfied that everybody's where they should be. Here comes Albert Williams, and Kangemi is sacked back at the 32. So much for the Argos' plans to kick a field goal. 11 seconds now left in the half.
Make someone make a decision along the offensive line, move some people around, give them something they haven't seen, and make them think for a second of who they have to block. And in that time period, Albert Williams somehow is untouched and gets into the face of John Kangemi.
Albert Williams and Quincy Williams at either end of that defensive line for the Bombers. 2nd down and 23 Argos. And referee Ken Lazaruk stops, but the clock ran down to 3 before the timeout was called. So Kangemi should be able to burn up the final 3 seconds on this play, and the first half will be over. A half that the Argos led for 29 minutes, with Winnipeg going up. 49 seconds to go on a field goal by Kennard. Here's Kangemi, and he gets it down to 1 second, and now that's it. They let the final second tick off. Halftime at the Sky Dome as the Argos try to beat Winnipeg for the first time this season, and they're down by 1.
The 1990.
The Bombers lead the Argos by 1. The big drawback for Kangemi is he's had so little playing time of late. Here's Ken Haley returning the kickoff that begins the second half. And he's out to about the 33 of the Blue Bombers before he's hurled back by Chris Gaines and others. A 13-yard return for Kenny Haley. You may hear some buzzing that is occurring here at the Sky Dome, and those are fire alarms going off.
Well, it's oftentimes they test the alarms, and what a better time to test the fire alarms than now when there's about 25, 30,000 people just sitting around.
Apparently one of the glitches of the Sky Dome is that the fire alarms tend to go off whenever they feel like it. And they're doing that right now. Bombers from their 34. Burgess hands off to Hudson around the right side. He's to the 40 and up to the 44-yard line for a gain of close to 10 yards. Warren Hudson acquired from the Argos just before the start of this season, and we've talked often about what an impact he's made on the Bomber offense.
Everyone knew Hudson would be a force in the backfield for blocking and running the screens, as he did successfully when he was an Argo, but Mike Riley has used him a bit in the running game, and I think he can break some keys for Robert Mims. They can't lean so much on him because they can give Hudson the ball and have some success.
From the 44, that was a first down run. Here's a hit screen, and Robert Mims on the receiving end of it. And he's up to the 50-yard line for a gain of close to 6. The Bombers like to use that play to either the slot back, more often the wide receiver, but that time Robert Mims catches the hit screen. Dan McManus has not played in the last 3 games as Tom Burgess has established himself as the Bombers quarterback for now. Although Mike Riley continues to say that he will not be the least bit reluctant to use McManus should the situation call for it. 2nd and 4, Winnipeg at its 50-yard line. Burgess sprints right. Gets it away, complete to Streeter at the Argo 52. He's pulled back close to center field, but that'll be enough for a first down.
Well, even when you sprint with the football, you like to have a soft time where you can slow down a bit and throw the football, and Burgess didn't have that opportunity because of the coverage. Streeter can wave his arms. He doesn't realize Wilson is so close behind him, but not until he starts to come towards Burgess does he get some separation, and Burgess is running out of real estate very quickly and completes the pass.
Streeter's numbers coming into this game, and he's improved on them with a couple of catches. The toss to Robert Mims across the 50 to the Argo 49 for a gain of 4 yards. You know, it may be a little misleading when you look at Mims being the leading rusher in the CFL as we take a look at Ricky Foggy at the Argo bench with his fingers taped and the ice pack on them, and it doesn't look like we're going to see Foggy in the second half, but Mims tops the CFL in rushing, but that's misleading. The Bombers only have the 6th best running attack in the CFL. They're averaging 107 yards per game. So Mims, whatever yards they get, he gets almost all of them. Burgess. Pass knocked down, intended for Robert Mims on 2nd down and 6. And that'll leave the Bombers in a 3rd down situation.
Spoke how important Hudson is. He comes up to the line of scrimmage when they run a sprint formation. Many times he will block. Hudson's responsibility sometimes, if no one comes, is to leak out when the linebackers drop, but Keith Costello in that coverage there doesn't give Hudson a break.
3rd and 6, Bombers at the Argo 49-yard line. Bob Cameron, and he doesn't hit this one as well as most of his punts tonight, and it bounces back upfield, and the Bombers have to get out of the way. The Argos grab it at their 28-yard line and up to the 34 on seconds left in the 3rd quarter at the Sky Dome. Winnipeg leading 10-9, and John Conjemi in the Argo offense with a ball for the first time in the second half from their 34. Conjemi has the ball knocked down. Actually, he was hit as he tried to unload it. Well, the Argos have had problems at the quarterback position this year, with Dunnigan missing half the season, and now Ricky Foggy out to use Tom Porras in a couple of games.
Tyrone Jones comes. You see how the guard pulls out. Dan Ferroni pulls out. Instead of having your tackle step out, Schultz steps down. Couldn't step down far enough to take the pressure off of Quincy Williams' rush, who made the tackle. Ferroni comes out and cuts down Tyrone Jones.
2nd and 10, Argos at their 34-yard line. Jimmy, that quick pass out of the backfield to Clemens, and Mike Clemens, with his brilliance, gets a first down to the Argo 46-yard line.
Well, Paul Randolph, number 36, is still looking, because, and that's not a knock on Randolph, because I don't know anyone who has had much. Look at this. What a quick move to the inside and then back upfield. And when he does move laterally, he wastes no time at all to get back upfield. It's not as if he dances around in one spot and doesn't get anything accomplished.
You want to talk about your kick?
Get him back in.
Sure.
I don't know how you do it, but you have to find a way to get him on the field.
Make him your designated import, I guess. 1st and 10. Argos at their 46-yard line. And Jimmy had a play call. Now he's changing it. And Conjemi will be sacked. And that's Albert Williams back at the 40-yard line. And Neil Conjemi doesn't look like he's really comfortable with what's going on offensively.
Well, you know, Bob, when he drops back, the scheme for the offensive line blocking is showing the guards coming out. Watch how the guard pulls out on the right-hand side to block. You know, that gives a defensive player to come all the way down, gets good 6-7 yards depth and that momentum, and then he has to be blocked. That's tough, and you're only getting, Conjemi's only getting 5 or 6 yards on his drop.
2nd and 16, Argos back at their 40-yard line. Conjemi with time down the field, and Mazzotti diving for it at the Winnipeg 50-yard line. Now they say that he did not catch the ball, and he knows it. So it'll be 3rd down and 10 for the Argos.
Would have been a whale of a catch if he had caught it. He has to come back down inside. Conjemi leads him. The ball's too low, and Mazzotti only has one really response, and that's get down and make it look good and roll that body as soon as you get your hands on the ball.
That's twice tonight. Argo receivers have done a good job of attempting to fool the officials, but unsuccessful both times. 3rd down and 16. Harper kicks. Not a good punt. On the run, catching it is James Murphy, and he's up to the 52, or Lee Hull, that is rather. You're watching. That is injured Blue Bomber linebacker James West.
We'll be back, I guarantee you. Boy's doing a good job, though.
Who had the cast taken off his broken arm just over a week ago. Robert Mims carrying for the Bombers, but losing yardage as the Argos come strong on defense. There are flags on the play.
Keith Browner was a little too over anxious for the Argos, and he'll be called for offside.
9:03 left in the 3rd quarter. Winnipeg leading by 10-9.
Offside. Toronto number 57. 1st down repeated.
Slot back Perry Tuttle is also out of the Blue Bomber lineup tonight. He spent a couple of days in hospital with an infected elbow when the bursa sac ruptured. Wanted to play tonight.
I don't look this stupid.
There's the early movement by Browner. Sweeps going to the wide side. Whole mass of bodies piled in there, and that's where the injury comes from.
Score, they have a 1st down and 5 with the offside penalty to Toronto, and here's a center screen, and Warren Hudson has lots of room. Moves to the outside inside the Argo 40 to their 39-yard line for a gain of 21 yards.
Watch how the defense sets up. See Gaines move to the left. Elliott's moved out to the left. The Argos have 6 defensive backs in with those 2 linebackers gone and a rush upfield. It's a perfect call.
It's only a 15-yard gain. It was 1st and 5, but 15 was plenty for the Bombers to get them to the Argo 40-yard line. Burgess hands off to Warren Hudson, and he's able to manage to get to the 35-yard line and just across. One of the special teams men for the Bombers, backup defensive back Michael Allen. A lot of the players say this is a very warm and humid building to play in, and looks like some of the Bombers feeling the effects of that.
Keith Costello's in at linebacker because Don Moen has got a case of the flu, and it's bad enough, and you know it has to be serious, that he didn't come back out at halftime. So to update you, that linebacking core has Gaines still in the middle with Elliott on the outside and Costello on the other side.
2nd and 5 for Burgess, who throws and completes the pass down to the 24-yard line to Ken Winey, and there is a flag on the play. Was it a late hit by the Argos, Neil?
It could be.
Ken Winey returning to Winnipeg's lineup. He's been out for almost 2 months with a broken vertebrae in his back. Chris Schultz of the Argos has said it's very difficult to breathe in the Sky Dome.
Major foul. Roughing the passer. 37 Toronto. 1st down Winnipeg.
You know, it's very similar in BC Place Stadium as we see Burgess roll to his right. And that little bump, I don't know if it was Parker they called. I think it was the hit from behind by Browner.
I think the hit that was called was a shot to Burgess's head. The Bombers are down at the 12 now. 1st and 10. Robert Mims carries off the right side inside the 10 to the 8 for a gain of 4. 7:07 left, 3rd quarter. Winnipeg leading 10-9. Driving
the bodies in a very small area. Mims able to find 4 yards.
Don Matthews wishing, among other things, that Matt Dunnigan was healthy.
Even Rick Foggy right now.
Hoping that his defense can stop the Bombers on 2nd and 6 from the Argo 8. Burgess looked left, came back the other way, and has a touchdown to Eric Streeter.
Burgess drops back. His first read is to the left side, and it's not a deep drop. See, now he's got to go to his right, but when he goes to his right, the defense slides that way. But so does Streeter, and he positions himself far enough away from Barry, and a good throw by Burgess gets it in the corner.
9th touchdown of the year for Streeter. The convert by Kennard gives the Bombers a 17-9 advantage. Tom Burgess touchdown pass to Eric Streeter. Trevor Kennard kicking off. Bombers in front 17-9. And Keith Kelly brings it back out to the 33 of the Argos. The ball comes out, but he was down.
You can always appreciate when a receiver and a quarterback are in sync. When something happens and there has to be an adjustment, as soon as Streeter starts to move, that's when Burgess has started to come to that side. A mirror image. Burgess throws it to the only place where he has a hope of completing it. His reaction shows you that he had success.
That was a 6-play, 60-yard drive. The 21st touchdown pass of the year for Tom Burgess, one short of his personal best in the CFL. Conjemi and the Argos from there, 33. The handoff to Mike Clemens. Tyrone Jones has the tackle, but Clemens has a good gain to the 40, about 7 yards. And now it's up to John Conjemi to get it done for the Argos with Foggy out and no 3rd quarterback. The 3rd quarterback is Matt Dunnigan, who might be back next week, but it doesn't do the Argos any good right now.
Oh, this is a time where everyone else, being at the receivers and running backs, and especially the offensive line, have to help out John Conjemi. They have to go and work that much harder to get open or break a hole.
2nd and 3. That's Nastasia carrying off the left side. Big hole for him. And he gets a first down up to the Toronto 48.5.
And having some success with that running game will hopefully, for the Argos, take some of that edge off the pass rush by the Bombers.
No huddle with Conjemi calling a play. 5 minutes remaining, 3rd quarter. Argos down by 8. One setback, and that's Clemens, and he has the football. Gets away from Michael Gray. Quincy Williams, though, is able to knock him off balance. And Ty Jones finishes him off, stopping Clemens for no gain.
Well, the play is disrupted immediately by a good play. Michael Gray gets upfield. Tyrone Jones hits the turf quickly by a block, but then gets back in on the tackle.
2nd down and 9 yards to go, or closer to 10 for the Argos from their 49. They gained about a half a yard on that play. Conjemi, quick pass, nobody near it. Jeff Boyd was the intended receiver, and once again the fans are on John Conjemi. Now, Conjemi has not played since the 16th of August.
It's a while, isn't it? And once again, you see the blocking scheme of the Argos. That's Dan Ferroni that sets back after the ball snap from his guard spot, makes a read, and then comes out to block Jones, or to try to block Jones. It takes too long, and it's not giving Conjemi a chance to look downfield, and it's giving Tyrone Jones all sorts of momentum to get in his face. And he does that well, even if somebody is blocking.
Glenn Harper will punt. We'll watch it from the end zone. And it's a good high kick. Great hang time. Winey at the 19-yard line of Winnipeg, and he brings it back close to the 30. Clinch first in the East ahead of Toronto if they can win this game tonight. 11-yard return on that 42-yard Harper punt by Ken Winey. Tom Burgess bidding to go all the way at quarterback for the 4th game in a row. Hands off to Robert Mims, and he stopped after a 3-yard gain. Chris Gaines, the 2nd leading tackler in the CFL, in on the stop.
Well, the split backfield, it's a handoff to the backside, and Mims comes front side. Hudson will make the lead and take the outside man and block him out, regardless of whether it's a defensive end or a linebacker. He will block that area and turn somebody out. But somebody else has to get in the way of Chris Gaines.
Second down for the Blue Bombers. Between 6 and 7 yards to go from their 34-yard line. And here's a little shovel pass to Robert Mims. Lowers his shoulder and pushes to the 40-yard line. And that should be good enough for a Winnipeg first down, as Mike Riley looks to see how far it is if it's third, but it's not. It's a first down.
Always get a kick out of these shovel passes. Setting up a pass, tries to make everyone see that Burgess is dropping back, and then he just pops it forward.
So the Bombers have certainly not been spectacular on offense tonight, but they're starting to grind it out pretty effectively, Neil.
And that grind out type of offense takes its toll on defenses.
First down, Burgess wants to throw, and he puts it up long for Eric Streeter, and Streeter is bumped off the route by Ed Berry, but they were at close quarters. Burgess has not thrown long since the first quarter, but felt that with them being very conservative of late, maybe they could burn them long. Not to be, though.
Well, you have to keep putting the ball downfield sometimes, even if it's not successful, to show that you will throw deep. You have to keep their respect, there being the defense's respect, that you will go deep.
There was a flag on the play. They're talking to Chris Gaines. We think it's holding against Winnipeg.
Holding. Winnipeg number 64. First down repeated.
Bob Molly and the Argos will take the penalty and push the Bombers back to their 30-yard line. 2 minutes, 25 seconds left in the third quarter. An 8-point Winnipeg lead, 17-9. Bombers first and 20 from their 30. Burgess to Robert Mims, and he gets a yard, and a hard-earned yard, as the Argos were ready for that defensively.
Rodney Harding is sitting out, as you can see, on the sidelines with the defensive team in. He has a bruised shoulder. That's what he injured earlier on in the game. He's replaced by Mike Campbell, number 99, the Darth Vader look.
Campbell went to Slippery Rock University, but he's a Canadian in his second year with the Argos.
Also went on short yardage and got himself a pass and a touchdown run in Hamilton earlier on this year.
Slippery Rock's in Pennsylvania, by the way, isn't it? It is now. Second and 19, Bombers from their 31. Burgess has Lee Hall up at the 54-yard line, and the Bombers get out of a big hole. Burgess to Hall converts, second and 19.
Lee Hull found by the Bombers in a free agent camp in May, and that's paid dividends. Straight drop back. Hull's deep. He's in front of the safety, Van Belleghem, and the ball is thrown in exactly the right spot before Gaines could turn and run to it.
Well, that's a key play as we look at this game, Neil, and the way it's going. An 8-point Winnipeg lead. The the Argo offense unable to move the football effectively, and the Bombers will hold on to the ball now and have good field position. Robert Mims on first down finds a big opening on the right side, and he's near the Toronto 40-yard line for a gain of close to 17 yards.
We've pointed out how quickly Mike Clemens in this game has been able to shift and make position and directional changes. Mims does the same things. He puts a great move on at the line of scrimmage because the defense of the Argos had come upfield and taken away the design play.
17 seconds left, third quarter. Clock running, and the Bombers at the Argo 41 now, first and 10. Burgess throws, intending it down at the 18-yard line and completing it to Rick House, and that's his first catch of the game. His second, pardon me. He caught one in the first quarter.
Well, Rick House has gone from a fellow who alternated at slot back last year to really one of the main receivers in this Bomber offense. Comes into this game with 740 yards and really always has been a clutch receiver. And now just getting an opportunity to show it.
Talked to Mike Riley about the difference between his team this year and last, and he talks about Rick House, who split time last year with Randy Fabian, but has been a front liner all the way this year.
And I asked the question, is it a surprise? He said, no, Rick's always had that ability, but it's good to see it come in the forefront. That's what we've needed.
From the 17 into the end zone, Streeter, and he can't get to it. They look for Streeter often when they get into that score zone, but Burgess and Streeter couldn't connect. That ends the third quarter. Number 15 is Enza Brown. She is the wife of Les Brown of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and they both have smiles on their faces because the Bombers are leading the Argos and are second down on the Toronto 18. The pass for Streeter is tipped in the air. It was too high. Streeter made an effort, but Burgess overthrew him a little bit. So the Bombers will send out their field goal team.
Even a tougher catch when that ball's starting to rise and Streeter's working his way back to the quarterback. The ball's just taking off and going higher and higher, and even with a good jump, it wasn't enough.
Trevor Kennard has only had one attempt at a field goal tonight. He made it from 38 yards. This effort will be from 24. Bob Cameron will hold as he always does. And Kennard puts it up and through, and the Bombers now lead 20-9, 14 minutes, 24 seconds left. On Matthews in his first year as head coach of the Argos, largely because of the injuries he's had at the quarterback position. And that's Ricky Foggy, who left the game in the second quarter.
Well, it seems in many games and for many teams it starts and ends at your quarterback. You can't get it done if you haven't got a quarterback that can do the job and be versatile, especially in this Canadian game. And as you said, Don Matthews hasn't had a whole lot of luck with his quarterback situation. He's got his fingers crossed now that Matt Dunnigan's hamstring will be ready in hopefully a couple of weeks.
Kennard kicking off after his field goal from the 12-yard line. It's Kelly again, who runs over a Bomber at the 30 and is up close to the 40-yard line. Keith Kelly, and he's over by Kelly was Les Brown, and he will stay in the game.
Les Brown is the first man down. He makes the pop. Kelly just gets good position, and he delivers the blow with the thigh.
Brown hurt his right shoulder, but he stays in. Kangemi on first down. And he'll take off and run as the middle opens up. Greg Battle puts a headlock on Kangemi and brings him down at the 49-yard line, but close to a 10-yard gain for John Kangemi.
Well, Kangemi might not be the accomplished runner that a Foggy or Dunnigan, but you'll see here when that lane does open up because of the block up front by the offensive line right there at the end, he gets downfield and gets himself close to a first down. John Kangemi will have to use everything in his bag of tricks to have.
August the 16th against Ottawa. He has not played in the last 8 Argo games, so it's 2 months really since John Kangemi last took a snap in real live action.
And that also means he doesn't get a lot of repetitions in practice, which also affects his performance in a game.
Just a very difficult spot for him to be dropped into. 1st and 10 after the measure. The Argos at their 50-yard line. Here comes the pressure. Kangemi gets it off, and Nastasia tries to make a leaping catch, but can't. And of course, the Bombers know that Kangemi has to be a little rusty and isn't very mobile, and they're teeing off on him. Quite a discrepancy between the performance of the two teams' quarterbacks. Tom Burgess all the way for Winnipeg, and Foggy and Kangemi have completed only 6 of 19 for the Argos. Burgess coming back from a slow start. The Bombers were shut out the first 27.5 minutes of the game, but they now lead 20-9. Kangemi throws, but there's nobody there. Darrell Smith and Andrew Murray were in the area. There is a flag on the play as Kangemi was roughed by the Bombers.
Well, the pressure on Kangemi, that's where the flag was thrown. So he just gets the ball off. Tyrone Gray in there, Hatzianu. It might have been Gray's slap to the head.
Roughing the passer, 52 Winnipeg. First down Toronto.
I think that's what it was. He brought that right arm across Kangemi's face as on his way down. It wasn't I don't think it was intended to be a serious blow, but it was there, and you can't strike a quarterback's head. You can't try to tackle the head.
Automatically penalized for roughing if you deliver a blow to the head, and that's what Michael Gray did. So the Argos get a first down at the Winnipeg 45 with a penalty. After Kangemi was nowhere near a receiver with a throw downfield. Kangemi with the toss to Mike Clemens. Bombers in pursuit. Clemens threw a small opening to the 40, and then he's surrounded and he gains 5 very tough yards. Clemens exchanging pleasantries with James West near the Bomber bench. There's a comparison of Mims and Clemens, and pretty close on the night, their head-to-head battle. Clemens, of course, has returned punts for more than 100 yards this evening, has helped the Argos score some of their points, but they haven't scored for a while since the second quarter. Second down and 4. Kangemi throws, and it's no good. Mazzotti, the intended receiver, and the ball was there, but Mazzotti could not bring it in.
See the receiver on the right side of your screen, 86, Andrew Murray, coming in for extra protection on the backside. The middle's wide open, and Kangemi wants to get it there, but just miscues with Mazzotti. They make the right call, and they made the right adjustment. They just didn't make the catch.
Argos have dropped 2 or 3 balls tonight. Kangemi will hold for Lance Chomick, who will attempt a 46-yard field goal. He's 3 for 3 on the night. Kangemi mishandles it. Chomick has the ball, tries to throw, and they'll rule it an incomplete pass. So that's a good play by Chomick at the Sky Dome. The Bombers lead the Argos 20-9, and they've just taken the ball over after Toronto messed up a field goal attempt. Second turnover of the game by the Argos. Winnipeg has only committed 1. And the Bombers will be at their 39-yard line with the first down. And the toss goes to Robert Mims. And he's up close to the 49 and close to a first down.
An opportunity given to Winnipeg here. Blaine Schmidt makes the snap to center. He's the first part of this field goal connection. The snap's a good one to Kangemi, right where it's supposed to be. It's just dropped by Kangemi, and Chomick tries to get the ball away under pressure by Rod Hill. It's a smart play by Chomick to get the ball, so at least they don't give him any more yardage on the turnover.
Kangemi getting some advice from upstairs. Second down and less than a yard, Bombers. They're 49. The handoff to Robert Mims, who tries to cut back, kind of loses his balance, but gets enough for the first down across the Winnipeg 50 with 10:26 left in the fourth quarter, and the Bombers will be content, one would imagine, to just continue to grind it out on offense.
You know, whether you talk about the players or to the players or the coaches, I think a lot of the Bombers agree that they've got some chemistry on this team. They've got a good nucleus both on offense and defense in their starting 12, and it's just it's something special. It's when everyone starts to feel good about what's happening, and I think Tom Burgess and the offense starting to blossom has helped that chemistry.
From the 51, Burgess wants to throw and does, and has a man open down the middle of the field at the 42-yard line. That was Lee Hull, and that's another Winnipeg first down as Bob Molly gets into it with Holman and Harding. And you have to understand, folks, that the Winnipeg offensive line and the Toronto defensive line do not exchange Christmas cards or birthday cards,
and there's absolutely no reason they should either,
or pleasantries.
Well, when the pushing does get going and the big guys start hammering around a little bit, when you have sensitive hands and you're a quarterback, it's like a surgeon. You want to get out of there. You don't be messing it up with those linemen.
Hull has got 3 for 54 yards. Burgess is in trouble, dodges a couple of Argos, and then is down by Harding back at the 45-yard line for a loss of 4.
But can eventually catch up to you. You see Burgess up front. Someone tried to cut Harding. Parker on a stunt from the outside comes to the inside, and Burgess really didn't even get an opportunity to glance downfield before Parker, Harding, and the rest of them converged.
3 sacks by the Bombers. That was the first for the Argos. Second down and 14, Bombers at the Argo 44, and it's Mims on a draw. Robert Mims to the 35, to the 30. He's still going to the 26. What a run by Mims.
Well, that's just a heck of an effort. They're going to call a draw into a blitz. Upfield, there comes Gaines. He leaves the middle, the blitz. They hit it up in there. Everyone is along the offensive line picks up a man, and then he just quite simply does it on his own. Breaks tackles, knocks people down. Having some fun.
Having another good night. Robert Mims has had those all season long. 12 carries, 70 yards, touchdown, and he's put the Bombers at the Argo 25, and he has it again. This time he'll lose a yard as Brazeley and Wilson got in there very quickly. James Parker as well to break up that play.
You know, it seems to have been that kind of game where the offense will have a good play and the defense pops back up. Brazeley and Parker there stymie and really limit a gain and will actually get Bombers, send Bombers back a yard. There hasn't really been a consistency there. You know, I expect now Winnipeg to come back and complete a pass for a first down or something.
See if they can do it. 2nd and 11 at the Argo 26-yard line. Burgess in the pocket where he always seems to have lots of time, but his pass intended for House on the goal line is no good. Overthrown. Van Bellingham gave House a little bit of a push as the ball got there, but it was not a catchable football.
House gets down, he's reading the defense, and now he's going to just try to get a defensive back to bite on his influence. Was it going to happen? Dave Van Bellingham, playing free safety, moves up and just stays behind him, and the ball just takes off on Tom Burgess.
So with 7 minutes to go, that'll bring out Trevor Kennard in the field goal team. They'll attempt a 33-yarder. And Kennard pushes it a little bit wide to the right. The Argos concede the single point, and with 46 minutes and 40 seconds away from clinching first in the East, they lead the Argos by 12. Toronto with the ball, 1st and 10 from its 35. And Jemmy with a couple of fakes, and then he throws to Anastasia coming out of the backfield. Good gain up close to center field. 19-yard gain from Jemmy to Paul Anastasia.
When you have a good receiver, you want to defend him in many different ways. And Winnipeg is taking number 72 on occasion out. Albert Williams didn't have to come into play, but he forces him to the wide side, and then he's picked up by Daryl Sampson.
Argos from there, 54. Draw is faked by Kangemi, who rifles it downfield, intended it for Murray, but Ken Haley got a hand in to break it up. There is a flag on the play back near the line of scrimmage.
You look at this Bomber defense in the last couple of games. The Argos have only been able to find 18 points in 7 quarters and a number of minutes now, so I don't think you can ask much more from your defense than what they're getting.
Holding. Toronto number 63. Decline. 2nd down.
Jim Kardash is called for holding. Bombers decline it.
Okay, go. How you guys doing, Eastside Muriels? Everybody's on. Hey, what's up, everybody? Eastside Muriels. Eastside Muriels.
Lyle Bauer, who is our tour guide at halftime. 2nd and 10, Argos from their 54-yard line. And the long throw intended for Daryl Smith, and he can't quite get there at the Winnipeg 20-yard line. And that kind of tells the story of the night for the Argos. They just can't quite make things work on offense.
Kangemi's trying to get Smith in that seam. He widens out. Now he goes directly up the field. He's behind the coverage of the safety, Bovell. Sampson's got position on him, but the ball was not thrown in the right spot. Not an easy throw, but it had to be a little bit more air on it and drop it under so he could get to it.
5:44 left, 4th quarter. Bombers ahead by 12, and the Argos 3rd and 10 at their 54-yard line. Haven't seen Toronto fake a kick yet, and we won't hear. Harper, good high punt. Winey back at the Bomber 10-yard line. They'll try to take it wide. Now cuts it back and is across the 20 up to the 22. At 12 yards of offense, partly because Ricky Foggy was injured in the 2nd quarter, and because Daryl Smith has only caught 2 passes for 36 yards. Bombers from their 22-yard line. 1st and 10. It's the hit screen, and it's dropped. Now they're ruling that an incomplete pass, but it looked like a lateral. The receiver behind the quarterback.
Well, in a play like that, you never assume that the referee's going to call it dead, and Mims does the right thing to get back on. And as a defensive player, don't assume it was a forward pass either.
Bob Cameron getting set in case he's asked to punt. The Bombers 2nd and 10 at their 22. 4:50 the time left. Murphy wide left. Streeter splits to the right. The backs come in motion, and Burgess drops to pass. Setting up a screen, and it's no good. Intended for Warren Hudson. Broken up by Keith Costello, who was filling in for Moen at linebacker, and he did a good job there.
And on that occasion, the Argos bring some extra pressure, again with gains and a stunt by James Parker. But Costello was either in man coverage or spying, but he did exactly the right thing and played it awfully well.
Bob Cameron is the busiest punter in the CFL. He's just a little above his season average tonight. He punted 132 times coming into this game. Almost 10 times a game. A one-hopper that Cameron is able to scoop up and get off. I thought the Argos might have tried to block that one a little more. Here's Clemens trying to turn the corner, and he does, but he runs out of room as he got to the Bomber 40. Yeah, that's what I'll try next time. Argos now from the Winnipeg 45, still with time if they can move the football. Kangemi puts it up long, intended for Andrew Murray, but again, the quarterback and the receiver aren't really close as they try to hook up.
Same play they tried to hook up with Darrell Smith just the last time the Argos had the ball without success. This time Andrew Murray up that seam.
Well, it's all no doubt very frustrating for Don Matthews, who has had to try and beat a good Winnipeg football club the last 3 times without his #1 quarterback, and he couldn't do it the first time when they had Dunningham. Darrell Smith with the reception. And where are they going to mark the ball? He winds up back outside the 35, but they give him the Winnipeg 34, and that's an Argo first down.
Just simply breaks out. Kangemi, the other receiver, goes upfield to try to pull some of the coverage back. Bavell has a shot at him. He does go back, and the tackle does bring him back, but his forward point was enough for a first down.
John Kangemi really takes a long time to call these plays. The clock is down to 2:50 as Kangemi drops the pass and throws, and it's intercepted. Is it by Rod Hill at the Bomber 8-yard line? Rod Hill, a pass intended for Jeff Boyd, and with 2:48 left in the 4th quarter, that just about puts the Rod Hill. The Bombers have won the
I told you I said hi to you at the airport.
turnover battle, as they do in most games. They've forced 3 turnovers and have only turned it over once. And with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, the Bombers 1st and 10 from their 8. Burgess waits for as much time to run off the clock as possible and then hands off to Hudson, who picks up 7 yards.
Occasionally an expression will be used that when you get a chance to catch the ball, you want to squeeze it between your hands. In this situation, Rod Hill almost seemed like the receiver, but this time he squeezes it with his knees.
And obviously Boyd and Kangemi weren't on the same wavelength there.
See you back when I get back to the pig.
Boyd was in the end zone and wound up trying to get back to the football. So John Kangemi's had a rough night in relief of Ricky Foggy. Bombers 2nd down at about 3 from their 16-yard line, and Robert Mims won't get it. He's up to the 17. Good defense by the Argos. 1:59 remaining in the 4th quarter.
A yard in this. A yard in this one.
Now Burgess wants the Bombers to send out the punt team, which is the thing to do. You don't want to go on 3rd down and a yard here and then not make it because you give the ball over to the other team at the 16-yard line.
No, it's the smart play right now. I don't think you can be called conservative for doing something like this, even though I'm sure the offense would like to go for it. They've had success thus far going on 3rd down.
Look for the Argos to really go after this punt. Bombers 3rd and a yard, and Bob Cameron lets the clock run down. It's 1:43, 1:42 left in the 4th quarter. And they just about got there, and Cameron does not get a good kick away, and it goes out of bounds at the Blue Bomber 30.
He felt he had a good shot at it. Cameron made the adjustment, maybe just even speeding up a little bit will affect the punt, but then it won't be blocked.
So the Argos, trailing by 12, get the ball back at the Winnipeg 37-yard line. Tyrone Jones has Kangemi, and down he goes back at the 48.
Well, Tyrone Jones is back to the Tyrone Jones of old, where he can come in. Watching the right side of your screen, he makes contact with the tackle, but it gets the tackle moving up the field and then spins back underneath. And that spin gets a disengage from the block and gets him a sack.
So the Argos are second down and many yards to go from the Bomber 46. We'll call it 19. Pressure comes again, and Kangemi gets away from Battle and is able to get the pass away, and Mike Clemens can't catch it at the 35-yard line. He was well covered. So Toronto will be third down and 19 yards to go with 1:06 left on the clock. And the Bombers are that much closer to finishing first in the East, nailing it down. It would be the second time under Mike Riley that they've done it.
Mike Riley described himself today as a conservative worrier. And as I said earlier on in the telecast, he was excited about this opportunity to get a chance and a good solid shot at first place at this time of the year.
Kangemi out of the shotgun. Throws for Jeff Boyd, complete at the 20-yard line. Boyd is inside to the 12, so the Argos still have some life with 59 seconds left.
Well, the Argos have had more success throwing the ball to the receivers that have been able to go downfield, even deeper than maybe 15 or 20 yards, but come back.
Kangemi will try to get the play up quickly from the Bomber 13-yard line. Kangemi again has been very, very slow in getting the play underway, and it's really cost the Argos time. He throws an incomplete pass, and that will stop the clock, and now it won't start until the ball is snapped on the next play. 45 seconds left in the fourth.
But it's the abilities to go up and get, as you said, not waste that clock. Get under the center, get the ball up, and get going.
From the shotgun, the Argos 2nd and 10 at the Bomber 13-yard line. Kangemi to Jeff Boyd, touchdown.
Well, from that shotgun position, Kangemi's already deep, and then he takes a couple steps after receiving the ball, which gives him good depth and also helps his offensive line out a bit. Blitz up the middle's picked up by Clemens, and a good throw in just in time to Jeff Boyd.
It is 21-15. The Argos are going to kick the convert. I'm not sure why they wouldn't go for the 2-point to get within a field goal. No, that would still leave them 4 points behind. I apologize. My arithmetic not real good.
We'll respond with that hands team, and that is the team that consists primarily of receivers and linebackers in the front line, the guys that are probably a little bit better at handling the ball than defensive and offensive linemen. And now, how do you kick it? Do you squib it straight ahead? Do you pop it up like a pop fly and let your team go for it? What's the best choice? That's the discussion.
Well, Matthews indicated to Chummick that he wants him to bounce it. We'll see what the Argos do as they try to stay alive in the race for first in the this year, where they've allowed the opposition 20 points or fewer, looking to make it 9 tonight, and if they do, they will be first.
Now you watch whatever side the ball's kicked to. That front line that's 10 yards away from the ball should aggressively attack the Argos and let that second wave get the football.
Chommick's going to kick the ball just from a position on the ground where it wasn't even teed up. The Bombers have recovered. There's a flag down, I think, because the kick didn't cover 10 yards. But the Bombers recovered it anyway, so that'll pretty much do it for the Argos' hopes of coming back and winning. Hildebrand receiving some instruction from Matthews. He's in his first game as an Argo.
Interesting kick, though. The ball's just laying flat on the ground, no kicking tee. Looking for one of those crazy bounces.
Sorting his penalty out.
There's no infraction on the play. Winnipeg's ball, first down and 10.
That's it, guys. All right, good hands. Good hands, team, guys. Good hands. Come on, first down. Go.
Don Matthews waving. Now, I don't know whether he was actually instructing players to move or was doing that as kind of a decoy method. But whatever, it didn't work, and the Argos dejected. 38 seconds to go, and the Bombers should be able to run out the clock and finish first in the East. And off to Robert Mims, and he has a gain of close to 9 down near the Toronto 36-yard line. 32 seconds left on the clock.
And it's no mystery right now what the Bombers will do, and to the joy, I'm sure, of either Mims or Warren Hudson, a chance to tee it up. Offensive linemen know where they're going.
Second and a couple, Blue Bombers. They send out some extra blockers. 30 seconds and the clock starts running. Burgess, in his 5th season in the CFL, a veteran at working the clock. Hudson carries off the right side, and he just crashes across the 35. Just who has had a very workmanlike evening, but has not given the ball away. The Bombers had only 1 turnover tonight, and that was an interception by Reggie Pleasant in the first quarter.
This will prove James West's arms feeling much better. That's a first place Bass.
A little celebrating, and why not? There it is. The game is over. The Blue Bombers have beaten the Argos for a 4th straight time this year, and in doing so, they have clinched first place. They finished first last in 1987 with a 12-6 record. That was the first time they had a first place finish since 1972, so this is their 2nd one in 19 years. And Mike Riley has done a terrific job bringing this club back from a 7-11 year in '89. They're now 11-4, and they nailed down top spot by beating the Argos yet again. 21-16 the final tonight.
Don't replace it. Let Apple repair it before it spreads. And